everybody. I'm Julius Solaris, and I'm the head of engagement for SwapCard. SwapCard is the leading all-in-one virtual event and in-person event platform for all your connection, community, business networking, and virtual events need. I'm very excited to be here as part of the launch of the Legacy Marketplace. It's amazing how we forgot all about sustainability while COVID hit, kind of similar to what happened in 2009 when the mortgage crisis hit and sustainability was all the rage. And then everybody all of a sudden forgot about it. It took almost 10 years to put it back on top of mind of a lot of event planners and professionals. Hopefully it won't take that long. I'm sure it won't take that long because we've all witnessed the impact that virtual events have had. Not that virtual events are carbon free or do not contribute to waste of resources, but yeah, they're considerably less resource intensive than especially large events out there. But we come from the event industry, so we're very committed to the in-person game as well. So it's going to be extremely important going forward how we manage the different impacts of events. There's going to be probably three likely scenarios that we're envisioning going ahead in terms of needs that will determine whether we meet in person or virtually. And a preamble to that is actually that in 2019, end of 2019, November, as I was writing the trends for 2020, as in my previous role as editor of Event MB, we actually put up virtual events as the top trend for 2020 for sustainability and resource saving opportunities. Obviously, that didn't happen in the way we envision it, but boy, did we have an experience over the past year in terms of virtual events. So a lot of things are going to change. We cannot expect virtual events to stay as they are today because we live in a sort of a fake environment where everybody's working from home. Hopefully that's going to end soon, but especially in the business of events, we are seeing a dramatic change once we'll be able to go back to travel. Though for the reason number one, we tend to meet so small meetings where we need to travel all over the world to meet for a day in a small group. Probably these events will be cut because we've all experienced how we can still close business without having to travel. It's an incredible waste of resources, a waste of energy. We don't need to leave our house. We can do it with Zoom, with a computer. We don't need sophisticated infrastructure to do it. We've learned how to do it, this collective experience over the past year. The second need is for those events that have a strong in-person component, larger events, where a lot of people will decide not to go, not to attend in person, but to attend virtually exclusively because they're limited in their capacity, because there's still uncertainty about the virus that could go on for the next few months in many regions, or because they just don't feel like it and they just want to stay home, but still enjoy the ability to participate in content or networking. That's where the hybrid component is going to be strong and where the digital part of an event experience is going to be increasingly important. The third need is the need of large events. And large events, digital component will be interesting as means to communicate and network, but not necessarily as means of attending. You can compare that to the experience of watching the Super Bowl on TV. You watch it on TV, it's fine, but attending in person is a completely different game and a completely different industry, must I say. So the digital part of those events is not going to be as important. There still need to be and happen. We're thinking about large trade shows where everybody's there and hence, that once a year you need to be there. the increased pressure on these large shows will be to continue the offsetting efforts that they put in place before the pandemic, and actually be on top of the game, because the sustainability crisis is not going anywhere. It's actually getting only worse. Therefore, increased pressure on these shows to make sure they comply with all the rules and all the diktats of sustainability, with obviously virtual being a part of it, but not necessarily replacing or being a side experience to them. So therefore, we're entering a new world where digital and virtual is going to be very important. What does that mean for you planning events? It means that you have to start evaluating digital as an integral component of your event experience program. Cannot do without. Whenever we mention hybrid experiences, really what we are talking about is in-person experiences with a component of digital as means of inclusion, because taking unnecessary flights all over the world is not something that everybody is going to be happy to do unless there's a very, very good excuse to do that. And also, I guess, reworking your business model is going to be incredibly important to be able to offer these digital experiences on the side of your in-person experiences, or in place of your in-person experiences in some instances. Therefore, think of in-person experiences as extremely premium experiences for selected audiences, or very large experiences whenever there's a community gathering, right? More than just another event. And I guess that also sort of when you think about the premium part of those experiences, the leverage is on ticketing, obviously. When you think about the digital component of that, the emphasis should be on the sponsorship models that you have for your events. If you've learned anything over the past year, is really how to manage that visibility of sponsors, and therefore shifting the focus on online marketing and also on 365-day engagement, right? That's the new buzzword. That's what everybody's thinking about these days, because all these silos of events that happen through the year, whether they're virtual, in person, or hybrid, really cannot be separate, cannot be separate instances where you have to reinvent the wheel every time. So thinking about your community strategy for 2021 and 2022 means really offering sustainable options for digital gatherings and in-person experiences where everybody gets together then on the digital platform that you select. So making sure that you have that in mind, on the back of your mind, and you work with your clients to, whether they're internal or external, to make sure that there's really an ongoing strategy to support an event-driven community, as we like to call it. Also, I think it's important to review how you budget for events going forward, with increased emphasis on virtual, not necessarily as a means to cut budget, but to create virtual experiences, because it's great that you can cut on the flights, the hotels, the food and beverage, and everything that happens around an event. But everything that happens around an event really creates that experience, right? So thinking that you're just going to cut on cost and really slash budgets and then create a Zoom meeting, that's it, it's just not going to work, isn't it? To elevate the experience and really create meaningful brand interactions or internal stakeholders interactions. Therefore, there's a shift of mindset here that needs to move from cost-cutting mentality to an online marketing mentality, where you generate revenue for online marketing, for digital, for virtual. You're saving incredible waste of resources. You're giving more inclusive opportunities for people around the world to connect without necessarily engage in expensive travel. And you're also giving a chance to those that don't want to travel to actually be there and attend. But at the same time, you got to justify that. You got to justify that need. You got to create FOMO. You got to create an experience. And you cannot do that by cutting. So the way you're going to do it is going to be increasingly important. The networking effect comes from the before and after of an event, not necessarily during the event only. So shifting that mentality to extend the life cycle of your event is probably how you're going to be more effective in creating that. So obviously, as Walkcard, we're very proud of entering the new phase of events, whether it's in-person, hybrid, or pure 100% virtual. And we like the message that virtual events are bringing along with them: a message of inclusion, a message of sustainability, a message of prosperity and revenue as well. Because let's not forget, these are business tools that can help you thrive in a very, very uncertain economic environment. This has been me. I wish the best to the Legacy Marketplace, and thank you so much for having me.